Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fly the Flag podcast. We're a mortgage show for mortgage people talking about mortgage things. I'm Mike Faraci. This is Jonny Fowler. What's happening, brother?
Oh, man, it's the end of the year. I am ordering some new stuff for the studio. I'm getting some lighting.
You're going to satisfy that case of gas you have. Gear acquisition syndrome, baby. Gear acquisition syndrome. I just recorded a video. I was in the middle of editing it when we decided to go live here. It's all about gear acquisition syndrome and what people should be investing in if they want to create more content in 2023. And it's not video gear. Got to invest in the audio first.
I will agree with that. A good video starts with good audio, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. But you have to have audio. I will do audio. I'll do video over audio anytime. But if the audio is bad, one of the things I do all the time is I recommend to people, go find, and you can go type it into the Googler, the wireless Bluetooth mics for iPhone on Amazon, just getting people to do that. But no, it's always an upgrade. You know, I've been using.
I have little guys like.
I've been using these same Yeti mics for
little stuff like this that can just plug into your phone.
Yep.
Just this is going to get you a long way.
Massively.
And, I mean, this was $50 or $60, I think, on Amazon.
Yeah. Hell, the ones that I recommend to people, buy the 2-pack. They're wireless Bluetooth mics. Little black dongle that plugs into the bottom of your phone.
Yep.
They're lapel mics. I think they're like $39.95 for two of them on Amazon, but it changes your videos so much. One of the things I'm really excited about today is I just helped bring an amazing branch, amazing group of people over to AFN. I have been helping these guys and working with these guys for about 3 years now. I have helped them with their business, with marketing, all of those things, and they made the move. And I am just so glad. One of the things that's cool about this is I want you, for the most part, to interview Raw, because you guys don't know each other. You haven't met yet or anything like that. And I want to hear what the transition was like. I want to hear what it is from being, somebody who is too close to it, you guys asking and talking to each other.
Well, let's not preface this anymore. Let's just welcome in Scott Middleton. How's it going, man?
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
How are you, sir?
Man, I'm living the dream, Johnny.
Awesome. Scott and his partner Jared are about an hour north of Houston in Montgomery, Texas, which is basically Lake Conroe is what we call it. And they actually run and dominate that whole area up there. Not only do they have a massive fan base, massive on social media, but there's things that he's going to tell you. And if he doesn't tell you, I'm going to bring it up. Because they do some of the funniest things you've ever seen before. Scott has a son that plays college ball up in the Dakotas for a private Catholic college, and they go up to every game. And what's funny is they've got this little, I'm not even going to say what it is. I'm going to let him talk about it. They've got this little trademark thing that realtors from all over the country will ask them, hey, please come by my office in Nebraska. Please come by my office in Kansas. Please come by my office in Oregon, wherever it may be, so they can take pictures with this little thing. So I'm not going to hold it up, but I want you to interview Scott, and almost like I'm not even here, but I'm going to throw things in here and there.
Sounds good.
Let's do it, Mike.
Scott, how much business you guys doing right now? Business is rough.
Well, we're very blessed, man. It's not rough for us.
That's fantastic.
We've slowed down. I just had this conversation with Jared. We took 6 applications yesterday, and it's supposed to be, a down period.
As we're recording this, it's just a few days after Christmas. We're the week before Christmas and New Year's right now.
Yes.
So now is not the hottest of app taking periods for the vast majority of originators.
Yes, and we took 6 apps, and honestly, I could probably take 3 more today. And we live in an area that we're just blessed with business. I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell the same story. In 2008, when the world was coming to an end, I'd go to Kansas. My friends couldn't get a job that had master's degree. We're still closing loans here.
That's phenomenal.
This area is just saturated with wealth and good people and new builds. And now, granted, we're not as busy as we were in August,
of course,
July and September, but we haven't seen a downturn in business to where we're nervous.
How are you finding the business? Because a lot of people are having trouble sustaining right now.
I think the thing of it is in July, we told our loan officers the same thing. You're going to have to work harder in the next 7 months than you have in your entire career.
Especially people who are new to the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
After this next 7 months, you get yourself to February and March, there's a pot of gold at the end. But the key component to all this is market share. So you have all these lazy people that are waiting for the business, and they lived on those refis. And then you have a slew of people like me, Jared, Helen, these people that are going out and keep marketing and staying in front of our agents. And now we're picking up new agents because they want to be a part of it. And so the biggest thing you can do right now is work. The worst thing you can do is sit up in your house or sit up at the office. Yeah, I don't care if it's twice a week. Call an agent. Set something up. I mean, we're constantly setting new appointments up. And we've been doing this for 6 months because we knew what was coming. And so those people now that are just starting this, you got to remember all the stuff that you market to right now, those are loans in 6 months. Yeah. You don't go meet a real estate agent and they're like, here's my business, Scott. We love you. That's not how the game's played. It's longevity.
Well, marketing activities.
Things that I've ever heard that anybody's ever said, ever told me, and this is my response every time, is how does a loan officer make 6 figures a year? And my answer is work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. Now it's 70 though.
I like that. So me and Jonny we've had mortgage people on. We've had home warranty people on the show. We've had a number of real estate agents, super successful from all sorts of different states and regions on the show. And it's an overwhelming theme that the best thing that you can do to pave your way to success is something. Just do something. When you're sitting there trying to figure out what to do, just do something. But the something that you're doing is working. So to help our mortgage people out, especially our AFN family, welcome, by the way. Your new addition to the AFN family. You just signed on. We're really happy to have you. We're going to get into why you decided to come and join the team in a little bit. But right now, if you were to give your top 2 or 3 somethings that you do on a regular basis, which is turning into loans, which is actually working for you, helping you sustain that business through this industry-wide downturn, what would those be? If you were to drop everything and do something right now, what would that be?
The first rule of thumb I would tell someone is do not turn anyone down. There's a loan there somewhere. And that's probably the second part why we're so busy is because we're known for saving deals. Half the calls that we get are busted loans, and they're like, will you help me? Will you help us get this to the finish line? And what I tell people all the time, either learn to master credit, learn to master running DU, learn to master something along the loan process that you can do better than anyone else. Learn to master what's the difference between running DU and, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yeah, DU and LP, there's differences there.
Yes, absolutely. Become a master in that subject. So, when you get a call and they're like, we can't get this loan approved, and you're getting in the details, right away in your head, I'm going to be able to run this thing through Freddie, and it's going to approve it immediately. So let's take the loan in. Those are skills that have just gone out of our business. We've become these push button loan officers, and our skills to overcome problems have been lackadaisical the last 2 years, where we have honed
You haven't
in on
needed to
those.
overcome problems. You roll out of bed and fall into a pile of
Yeah.
refinances every morning.
Yes. But it's amazing. I tell our LOAs all the time, who's Helen and Carlos, they know more about loans than 90% of the loan officers we work with.
No doubt.
And that's because they're watching us. They're watching us run these loans through DU, how to get them approved, how we're not getting approved. We discovered something the other day that I wanted to call everybody, and I'll just say it right here, right now. We discovered that we could not get this loan to run through DU, and it was straight up seller contributions, but Freddie's approving them. And it was epiphany went off. Why would seller contributions not allow a loan to run through DU? We don't know, but we won't do it again.
Because it met the guidelines, right?
Yes. And so now we got 2 loans off of that where they couldn't get in. And so I called a couple loan officers and said, hey, here's the deal. This is why this isn't running. Try to run it through Freddie. It's approved. Okay, so it's the seller contributions. I don't know why the system doesn't like it. I could never do the research to find that. But that's what I mean as far as just honing in on some sort of skill. It could be credit. It could be anything. But you've got to become the master of something.
I like that. That's good advice. I can call back on my previous experience. That once upon a time I was an account executive working in wholesale, and when you're just starting with no book of business, sometimes the only loans you have to work with are broken.
Yes.
And it's up to you to fix them.
Dude, every real estate agent is going to send you the dog crap loans first. That's how the game is played. They're not going to send you an 800 FICO borrower 20% down. They're sending you Billy, who's got a 570, who's had 10 jobs. But like I've said a million times, when you take those no's and you take them to approve, that's your referral base. Somebody that has an 800 FICO and 20% down, they know they can go anywhere in the world and get a loan.
Sure.
The only reason why you're going to retain them is customer service. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's that game. When you take someone that's been a no and you make them a yes, they're yours forever. They're telling all their friends and family.
I was going to say, they're the ones that are going to shout about you from the mountaintops too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so people used to make fun of me and Jared all the time for doing these dog crap loans. And I'm like, that's fine. Make fun of us and watch us struggle to the finish line. It's all about communication. Hey, we're going to need more than 30 days here to close this deal. We can get it to the finish line, but it's all about telling everybody involved what's going to transpire. But those people don't go anywhere. We're still closing loans from someone that we did 5 years ago that we pulled their credits 525. We got them on a game plan. 45 days later, they were at 600. We got them closed 30. So literally within 3 months, and the company that agent was working for just called the customer and said, sorry, your credit's too low. We can't help you. You do those sort of things. That's going to build your business. When you're first starting out, that is absolute key. That's what I mean by there is no turn down. Part of our job is to sell the dream, sell the hope, sell it all. And when you just tell somebody no, you've sold them nothing. You've given them no hope. You've given them no. If you seriously just take an extra 10 minutes, go through their credit report, have a conversation with these people, then they feel like you're there to help them.
There's a big difference between no and not right now.
Yes.
There's a big difference between we can't pre-approve you and here's a 90-day roadmap on how we can get you pre-approved.
And you would be shocked how many credit reports we pull as loan officers that's what we do. We throw those people to the side. Sorry, we can't help you. When we train our LOs, and now, like I said, our LOAs are masters of it. Mm-hmm. When we have our credit pulled, literally our LOAs will send us a list. Hey, Middleton, this customer's at 550, but here's the accounts that they have overdrawn or high credit report, high usage on. Here's the medical ones that they either need to pay or dispute. Like we've already trained them mentally. As soon as you drop that credit report in, let's get these people on a game plan. It literally 5 minutes.
I love that. It's a message that I like to regurgitate from Gary Vee all the time, is the message of empathy and how our industry is hugely lacking in that, because it's really easy to look at an application and say, is this borrower approvable? Checkbox, yes or no.
Yes.
And forget that they're human beings. These are human beings trying to find a place for them and their families to live in, possibly long term, and grow wealth.
And nobody has ever taught them how any of this works. Nobody has ever taught them how to save money, how to build credit, what it means, how any of these things work. So that's part of our jobs, period.
And I think some of the times too, one of the biggest problems, and this is kind of maybe getting off subject, is we're scared as loan officers to quote unquote eat the frog. One of our biggest referral partners is somebody that we busted 2 of their loans with. But the communication, and we were just being honest, and I told the agent, hey man, I missed this on the credit report. It's 100% on Scott Middleton. Nobody else is at fault. I'd love to call and give you some story. So, you know what I mean? But I missed it. I'm human too. And dude, that guy appreciated that so much.
Sure.
We probably closed 60 loans with that person now. And that's something in our business, it's almost like we're scared of the breakup because we don't want to lose them. Well, you're going to lose them if you're not honest with them. We messed one of Johnny's wife's loans up, where we had the income calculated and the VOE wasn't matching what we had. You know what I mean? And so we had to extend the loan for 25 days, and it was one of his friends, but nothing was matching, and we missed it. The underwriter caught it, but Scott didn't catch it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this overtime looks good. This pay stub looks good. This VOE looks good. We're all good. Let's go to the closing table. Yeah. And then we submit for clear to close. Whoops. No, it's not good. This isn't matching. You know what I mean? And so there's going to 100% be mistakes. I tell loan officers this, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I've never messed a loan up, you haven't done enough. You have not done enough business if you've not messed
you've done up. One loan, maybe.
Yes. It's going to happen. Hopefully you have a good enough staff like we have with our own processors and we catch them, 2 days into the process, not 3 weeks. You know what I mean? But early on in your career, when you don't have those supports in place, you're going to get a couple weeks in and the underwriter is going to see something and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And what you can't do is nothing. You got to call people and let them know.
You got to own up.
Hey, Mike, I need
it's
to
that simple. Just like it's okay to answer a question with "I don't know."
Yes,
I don't know. Let me find out for you.
I need to do a translation for you, Mike. So in Texas, we've got a saying: if you've got to eat a frog, do it first thing in the morning. Don't stare at it all day long.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So that's if you got to give bad news, do it as soon as you can. Don't look at it all day because it'll just talk you out of it. It'll be one of those ones, instead of waiting all day to call that realtor, instead of waiting all day to call that borrower, instead of waiting weeks or ignoring the problem or whatever, you've got to get out of the way immediately, fast. That way you can start working on the solution. Otherwise, you're going to waste 8 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours staring at that frog instead of fixing what the problem is.
Me and Jared have done this before, and we're too big heart. A lot of times we don't look at this as a business. We take this, most of our contacts and most of our people, they are our friends and family too. So we're personally involved in a lot of our loans. And I've literally made myself physically sick over not eating the frog. Staying up all night worrying about the loan, like, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this? And it's just like Johnny says, you got to eat it and move on.
Yeah.
Find the solution, go on. Sorry, we're getting off track.
No, I like it. It's all good information. It's good for newer loan officers to hear. It's good for people who are struggling to retain business. Anybody who's looking to get an extra realtor relationship or or open the door of a new realtor's office to see if you can pull some business from there. Just being willing to not know and find the answer, and being willing to make a mistake and fess up to it and then work your ass off to fix it. Those are the things that other loan officers aren't doing. And that's what these people are looking for with trusted lending
and
partners
I think
and relationships. It's a great way to go about it.
I think when you're marketing to a new agent, Mike, one of the things that we do is we introduce that agent to all the players. Here's me, here's Jared, here's our LOA, here's our other LOA, here's our processor, here's all the people that are going to touch your clients' loans. We send them a welcome email before we even have their business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, at any point, if you have questions or you have, things that you're needing addressed, here's all the players on the whole team. We're an open book of business. Our processor knows not to lie to our agents. If one of our agents call our processor, she's going to tell them the honest truth. No, we haven't ordered the appraisal because of XYZ. Yes, we've ordered the appraisal. Yes, everything's smooth. No, we need to get this borrower's bank statement. They know they can contact anyone at any time. If they can't get me on the phone, they can get Jared. If they can't get Jared, they can get me. If they can't get us and we're at something, they're going to call our assistants. They'll email our processor. Where are we at with this? It just happened a little bit ago because our agents are used to it. And Cassie responded with, hey, this is a transition loan. The processor's name is blah, 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 but I'll call her for you. You know what I mean? Like,
we haven't been doing this show for too long, but we've been doing it long enough and we've had enough guests on to where you learn very quickly that the best way to get repeat business out of realtors is to pick up your freaking phone.
Yes.
It really is that simple, because that's how low the bar is set.
Yes.
For a typical loan of, they're just looking for somebody who can pick up the phone and give them an answer.
Yes.
And now I know at AFN, we just released our technological suite, Snap, that has a whole realtor arm to it. And they don't even have to pick up the phone to get status updates if they want. It's right there on their phone 24/7 in the app.
Talk to them continuously.
It's incredible. And it kind of leads me to, I don't know, AFN, we're working on tech. We've rolled out all this stuff recently. All of that's great, and it has everybody excited. But I'm sure that isn't the reason that you chose to come to AFN. It might be one piece, sure, but you've just gone through, let's face it, I've moved, not necessarily company, just like in your life, when you move to a new house, it's a pain packing everything up and moving it over and getting everything unpacked and redecorating the new house and doing all of that from apartment to house to whatever you're doing. It's the same in business. When you have your own branch, when you have your own kind of business center, they're moving it from one company to another, from one home to another. It's going to be a bit of a pain, regardless of how seamless the onboarding process is. And it takes some kind of value proposition to make somebody pull the trigger, especially somebody like yourself who's successful and is doing business in a down market and is positioning themselves for, like you said, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow come next year. What made you undertake that move to AFN and want to come here and kind of fly the flag with us?
One of our biggest reasons for moving is to gain some of our control back. So we've ran P&Ls before, we've ran operation staffs before, we've ran like a multiple of things, and we were at a company which we were like cut off. It was more corporate world.
Okay.
And just from going back and what I've been talking to you about, we don't have the prettiest at loans. Sometimes we need some help. We need a CD to go out at 3:00.
Sure.
We need these things. It should not be, listen, we know the game. I know when I ask for a rush that some other loan officers' stuff's not getting worked on. We take that very seriously, but we still will need help at times. And all the things that we can do on our own, we were basically eliminated from. And so probably our biggest thing was we wanted some of our power back. We wanted to be able to control the things that we know how to control, that our people know how to control. and just to have that freedom again. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we moved from where we were to AFN. Now, the second biggest reason, there's no reason to lie about it, is because of Jonny. We use Jonny. So I didn't think it did make me feel good because, like you said, like I said, I'm a soft-hearted person.
Mm-hmm.
Jonny's going to do functions for us, and we don't work with Jonny. He's straight up just doing this because we're friends. And so I was like, this is silly. Like, why are we not going to just go to AFN? And then, like, the third thing is products and pricing. At the end of the day, those two things drive business.
Sure.
And in our market, we can't lose a loan to rate. When we lose a loan to rate, word gets out. It's that easy. It doesn't. A lot of loan officers are crybabies, and oh, this is my biggest realtor, and oh, this is my big. We all say the same crap over and over.
Yep.
Where we live, though, rate when word gets out that, hey, you lost a loan because the guy down the street had a lower rate than you, it's detrimental to us. It isn't a lie. We'll lose more loans over that one deal. And so to be able to take some of that control back, that was a major thing.
That's fantastic. That's a great top 3. And being able to set your own rates and have the control like that has kind of curbed any of those concerns, so to speak. Have you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not when you run a P&L, one of the worst things that happens is they keep money on the back end. They don't tell you. I don't care what company you work for. It's like that everywhere. When we met with Matt and John, I literally have never felt so comfortable to where I think that these guys would just tell us. And that's what I've always said for years. Hey, man, if you tell us you're keeping 75 bips on the back end, I'm good with it. Mm-hmm. But don't tell us you're keeping 20 when we know you're keeping 75. Like, don't lie to us. I know that my number one job is to make AFN money. That's why I'm here. We don't have jobs unless we're trying to make the corporation money.
Sure.
It really is that simple. So we're not arrogant in the fact where we know we need to drive in business because that's how we keep people employed at AFN. That's how we keep all the processors. That's how we get all these great technology. It's revenue. And so even though you think you're a small piece of that, you are a piece of it. And
Absolutely.
If you're losing money, then they can't go out and get the next biggest thing because they got too many branches losing money. So then
I love the open book.
Yes.
It's not policy. It's just a way of doing business that Matt and John,
yes.
Matt Schultz and John D'Onofrio, for those who don't know, are presidents of retail. But the way that they're open with all that stuff is great because regardless of what I don't know if it's 50, 75, 25, 180 million basis points on the back. I don't know what the actual numbers are. I'm not involved in those conversations, but I do know that there's honesty involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
The books are open.
Yes.
There's nothing being hidden. And what you get in return for whatever is being kept is worth it. There's a value proposition there.
There's absolutely value in honesty. We don't have enough of that in this business. This is a very shady business. It just is. There's a lot of dirty people in our industry, period. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
That's true.
So when you surround yourself, which is what me and Jared have done, we've surrounded ourselves with good people. And so now we've aligned ourselves with great people too. And so those two things, when you combine them, it's only a matter of time before you have success like you didn't think you could get. And these are like-minded people. Like during one of the trainings, literally our LOA texted me after one of our trainings and they said to me, Middleton, it's like these people are talking your love language. And I'm like, yes. Now you see why me and Jared chose this, because these people are going to follow us wherever we go. So they're cautious. Mm-hmm. We're selling them. Hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it.
Sure.
But they're just, our processor is like, whatever you guys want to do, whatever company, it's fine. But then when they start getting into it and then you start getting that feedback from them, They've never met Matt and John. They've never met anybody from AF. You know what I mean? And then they're starting to tell you that, you've hit a home run. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. These are your grinders. These are the people that are making me and Jared money. When their feedback is, this is overwhelmingly good. These people have done everything that we've asked. They're on top of things. Like, that's feedback. I literally sent John and Matt and Johnny, forwarded them emails from our team. Like, hey guys, I know that we're a small piece of the pie, but here's your feedback for your onboarding team. It's incredible. And everyone's scared to move. They should be. It's scary. But one of the
it's a pain in the butt.
AFN's
not only that, people lie to you.
Yes.
100%.
We've all been through it where it's like, oh, all these great things. And then you sign on the dotted line, and then 30 days later, well, we really didn't mean that. Literally everything that they've told us has been true. And it was so annoying in the beginning. It was so funny because one of the onboarding people would call me twice a day. I go into Jared's office and I'm like, listen, you tell these people, Jared, stop calling me. Like, they're bothering me. Like, tell them to stop. This is too much for me. I'm getting over, blah, blah, blah. Well, as we got into a couple of weeks of it, because I have a different personality, everybody else is like, Middleton, it's like we got our personal concierge. They call us every day, check on us. We love this. This is the greatest thing ever. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I wish this lady would stop calling me. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's true. Like, it was over the top for me personally, because I'm not, but for my team, they absolutely loved it. They got a call every day at 9:30. And this is simple stuff, man. Like, is your Encompass up and running? Do you need me to help you with anything? They're double, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. You know what I mean? And I'm a personality where it's like, I'll let you know if there's a problem.
Sure.
Like, we got this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going through Encompass training, and I'm training the lady that does the Encompass training. Here, watch this. Move these buttons. And then I have to take a step back, and I'm like, man, I sound cocky and arrogant. You know what I mean? Like, I need to soak this training up, shut my mouth, and just do this. But it's just my personality. Like, I start to take over things.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine Faraci being on the other side of it? Stop calling and helping me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what Jared said. He goes, that may be the stupidest crap I've ever heard you say. And I'm like, Jared, I don't know. They've called me twice today, okay? Like, I've got to call these customers. Can you call her and see what she wants? And he's like, I know what she wants. You're supposed to be filling this paperwork out. And you haven't done it yet. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll get to that. I'm sorry.
That's great. What's your one thing going into 2023? What do you want to do more of or do a little bit different? And what would you suggest to anybody in your position who has a good amount of control of their business? They're running a good, successful P&L. Maybe they want to bump up production a little bit or just kind of, stave off the downturn.
I don't think.
Are you planning on doing anything different as we move into the new year?
I think as far as different goes, we're just going to, it's a continuation of what we've done the last 3 months. We're going to continue to get up out of the office. One of the worst things LOs do, we see it all the time, they don't trust people with their business. And it's very scary. And honestly, we've had major mistakes because we've trusted our LOAs when they were green. And we've let them make the mistake, because my theory is once that dog bites you, you don't forget, oh crap, I can't average overtime income over 12 months. I need 24 months. And so we would allow people to make these mistakes knowing they're making them. But like I said, when that dog bites, you don't forget it. That's the only way to truly learn, I feel. So I think what we're going to do differently this next coming year is we're going to continue to push our people to make them better and to continue to push to gain the market share.
I like it. Johnny, what do we miss?
Nothing really. One of the things is you truly have to see the way these guys work to see the dynamics of how it works and how the system works, and it very much is a team. So one of the easiest things for me that I saw was taking an existing team and putting it with a team that already works together. So it's so good to hear the things, you think about that. Scott and Jared were responsible for, at a minimum, you're talking about 5 to 7 lives.
Yeah.
But then when you start looking at the extended team, all of the brokers, all of the realtors, all of the inspectors, everybody that they work with, you're responsible for a lot. So that's a big move. That's a big thing. So it's got to be extremely comforting. And it for Scott and Jared, it had to be one of those things whenever your team members come back and start telling you that not only were they treated as well as you were, but they may even have been treated a little better, their love language as opposed to yours.
Yeah.
That's got to be something for the both of them, that it was not necessarily an aha moment, but maybe I can breathe a moment kind of,
Yes.
sigh of relief kind of thing to know. We just some things that I know that they're doing that others are not. When he said get out of the office, that's a huge thing for them. Mm-hmm. Getting out of the office is massive, but they have built a team that they can trust. And I think that is highly, highly important. One of the things that I find just so appealing about these two guys is they are so kind and they are so patient with everybody. Their people have been with them forever. And I mean, in the mortgage business, if you can keep somebody for a year, that's like, 10 years in the real world. And these people have been with them for so long, and they're so kind and so patient, but it's getting out of the office. They already have events planned throughout the year that they're doing. We're doing some of them together. They've got some big major events coming up for some of the biggest EXP offices that there are in our area. Awesome. And this is something. So think about this, Mike. You just said something earlier. We were talking about distance, and that's one of the things in Texas. We measure everything by hours, whether it be a quarter hour, half an hour, an hour, where you guys have to do it by miles. For us, an hour is about 55 miles. So where they're at, one of their biggest supporters is truly from where they're at. I want to say it's 115 miles from them.
Oh, absolutely.
In between that place where they live in Montgomery, Texas, compared to, is it Fulshire? I think it's Fulshire. Yes. Yeah, Fulshire, Texas, where this huge office is. There is probably no less than 50 mortgage companies in between that stretch of highways. And these guys score these massive offices and do this business. One thing he didn't tell you is they had their biggest month ever in November. So, 30 days ago.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes.
And it's these offices, these realtors, because they know that they answer the phone. They know that they have their people trained. They know that they're there. So we're doing some big events with these realtors and stuff like that. There is a boutique real estate company that is really big where we're at. I think there are over 1,500 agents now that Scott and Jared are a massive part. And I'm going to say probably 10 or more offices, but they're a massive part of this group and this internal. I am so proud to know these guys. I am so thankful to know these guys. I am so blessed to know these guys and call them friend. I can go on about them forever. I truly adore these two guys. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I think too, one of the things, Mike, I'll just throw this in, as far as being a branch manager, we still get calls. I mean, I just had one this morning from a loan officer that hasn't worked with us in 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
She's having a loan she can't close. So she calls me, asks me what to do, how to do it, how to fix the situation. And me and Jared will always help those people because in my mind, recruiting is a long game. This lady doesn't work for me right now, but when she needs a home, she's going to come back.
Absolutely.
And I think that's some of the stuff, just being a genuine, and don't be scared to share your knowledge. Like, we invited one of the events Johnny's talking about. It's a massive group. Dude, I've invited 3 loan officers that don't work for AFN. And sometimes I just feel maybe that is the cockiness in me, but dude, there's 1,000 agents. I'm not going to be able to connect with all of them. So come be a part of it. It's fine.
Sure. And if they're ever looking for a new home in the future,
yes,
they're not going to forget. They're not going to forget about that stuff.
No, I just text Johnny this morning. Hey, I invited this girl. She speaks Spanish. Well, there's 15 agents in there that speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if we don't get the business from those agents and they go to that loan officer at that company, at some point, if you keep doing the right thing, they're coming back to you. And so
I think you just said the magic words. It's all about doing the right thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because inviting that loan officer for those 15 agents is the right thing to do for those agents also.
Yes.
And just because you can't fill that need doesn't mean, like, in-house doesn't mean you can't help fill that need otherwise. And if you're willing to do that, then I mean they're not blind. They know what you're doing.
It's also the right thing for that loan officer because there are so many companies out there, especially right now, that are not thinking about helping and educating. One of the things that I don't like about this business is the way that corporate offices act right now. And for everybody who doesn't know, we're obviously in a shrinking part of the world right now as far as this business goes. And instead of helping the loan officers, instead of helping the branch managers get more business, teaching them how to get more business, how to take over that market share, all we're doing is pissing them off by taking away their loan officer assistant or taking away their processor or taking away their marketing budget. That $250 a month that you were getting for your marketing budget, it's gone now. So instead of helping, it's just this ignorant, penny pinching, not at all thinking about others, self-serving. So that, again, this is why, one of the reasons why I just adore these guys. It is helping other people.
Yeah, and that's also the merits of a true P&L model. They're not if a branch is more than profitable off what they're doing, why should they have to fire their loan officer assistant because company-wide business is down? That doesn't make any sense.
Tell them, Scott.
Shocked, Mike, on how many people don't know that.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy to me.
Oh, but company-wide business, company-wide profitability, but that's not what a P&L model is.
No. It's crazy to me.
They just went through this because they're extremely profitable. They're extremely solvent. They're extremely top management, and they just went through this. The company that they were at before went through this because there are certain offices that are not cutting. There are certain offices that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing or managing correctly. So they were at the point of losing people because of somebody else.
Because another branch manager didn't want to give up their $30K a month.
That is correct, Michael.
That was based on the economics from a year ago.
You brought this. I mean, this is how dialed in we are. We told them at the other company, and I don't want to do someone's inventory, that a Chinoa loan, the profitability of this loan is more than what we're getting on conventional loans. We had to literally go clear up the ladder to a point where it was like, oh my God, the literally email was sent and said, we need to listen to Scott and we need to start doing these loans. And I'm looking at Jared and I'm like, this is crazy. This is because nobody's ran a P&L. And so you can literally go fire 50 LOAs, but if you're not making the money and you're not driving in business on the loans you should be doing, then it doesn't matter how many people you fire, your per file cost is never going to be driven down low enough to where you're making your profitabilities there. It was some of the craziest stuff I've been a part of.
And this isn't complex math.
No.
This is addition and subtraction.
That is correct.
It's not that hard to understand.
It's literally, this loan makes $4,000, this one makes $3,000. Which one should we do? And it's not that we weren't doing them, it's that they weren't set up to do the loans. And it's like, guys, this is a great product in the state of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is this a great product, and we're going to be able to close more business with this product, it's also a profitable loan. It was like, this is crazy to be having this conversation.
It's true. It's true. That's it. And that's one of the reasons that AFN was one of Chinoa's biggest lenders last year.
Yes.
Last year. We're recording this in 2022. This year.
Yes.
And last year. We've been doing Chinoa for years. I remember onboarding this program. Yeah. I used to handle all the product at AFN up until a couple of years ago.
It's a great product. That's just one example. I'm just saying, like, it was just crazy to me, crazy to us at times.
But beyond being a great product, it's a great product for the consumer. It helps more people. It's one of those things that I get kind of worn out on hearing people talking about wanting to help consumers, all of these things, but then the products that actually help, we have 800 FICO score, 80 LTV loans all day long. But what are you doing to truly help the consumer? What do you one thing I'd like to just, because we're already sitting at over 45 minutes, I want to get your opinion on this, and I'm going to get on my soapbox for about 3 minutes. I want to hear the feedback from you guys. So last night, I'm talking to a friend of mine from New Jersey. He's with Union Home. And one of the things that he and I are talking about is, we're spending some time and we're solving all of the world problems while I'm making my 45-minute drive home. And one of the things that we talked about, it's really, really been bothering me. And I want to get some feedback. He and I were on the same exact page, and it's okay if we're not, because I want to hear other opinions. But one thing that's bothering me right now, we know, anybody who's been in this business knows that it's cyclical and it goes through a business cycle about every 6.7, 6.8 years. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, that's what the time frame is. If you look at everything, 6.7, 6.8 years. One of the things that's driving me crazy right now is the ownership and management. And this is one of the things where I fell in love with AFN when I listened to Sherman and Gwen talk at the convention. It was like, holy shit, finally somebody gets this. But I'm sitting here watching these companies, and I'm watching them make really bad, poor decisions. I'm watching them act surprised, and they're actually putting messages out to the public like, we had no idea this was coming. We had no idea that you could print trillions of dollars and that would cause inflation. And we had no idea that interest rates were based off of inflation instead of what the Fed fund rate is. And it's driving me crazy. And I know it should. I know that I'm taking way too much on, but it's really, really irritating. Say some of these guys that have been in this business for 20 or 30 years, taking this as a big surprise, and the amount of people that they have just torn up their livelihoods, screwed up their, right here during the holidays, all this has just really, really irritated me. Now, I realize that there's right sizing, and I realize that when you go from, if very few people remember that 2019 was a down year. Going into 2020 was down. We were going into this business. Everybody, for some reason, forgets this. Yeah. And I realize when you go from going into a down year to one of the biggest years, matter of fact, the biggest year ever in history, that you do have to bring people on. But I'm just really irritated at the way that it's been handled. And I'm really irritated at these weak, lame-ass excuses that people have come up. We had no idea. Nobody could have seen this. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if you've ever heard of MBS Highway. But if you haven't heard of MBS Highway, maybe you should tune into it every once in a while. But we did know this was going to happen. So tell me what your thoughts are. Or should I just stop letting it bother me?
I don't know, John. Anytime billion-dollar CEOs buy basketball teams during catastrophic market downturns, I don't know why you'd be bothered by that.
Two basketball teams. And just to go off of that, the American public tells us what they think about mortgage companies. They need us. But if you look at, let's say, the two rival companies that you happen to be talking about,
sure.
Look what's happened since their IPO came out and where their stock prices are, and not in the down market, in the highest, hottest market ever. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Tell me.
I totally agree with your assessment. It wasn't sustainable. Bottom line. That's what I always tell people. We can't be having rates in the twos, and we can't be home values increasing at a pace we've never seen. Eventually that stuff was going to come to a head, and it's going to come to a head without the inflation. So you had basically gas on a fire. It was coming. It just came quick, if that makes sense. Honestly, everybody knows. And that's the problem with these bigger corporations is all this, they made so much money for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as 2 or 3 months of slow time, then it's cut everyone. It's crazy. What happened to all the money that we've made for the last 2 years? We don't have enough to sustain this for a little while. We're literally going to go fire these people at Thanksgiving and Christmas. We haven't done a good enough job for you as your employee to sustain this at least for 2 or 3 months and see what happens. Oh no, we're going to get ahead of the curve. Term everybody, lower cost, send everybody packing. We're not going to have enough business, blah, blah, blah. That's the part that bothered me. In 100% they knew.
I understand that the economics are what they are. At a certain level, there's no other way to do certain things. The thing that I like about AFN is that we really do look at things on a branch by branch basis.
Yes.
So if Scott Middleton's branch, like you said, small piece of the pie, but you're a piece of the pie and care about you. And if you're a profitable piece of the pie, then why should you have to get rid of any of your people because these people don't want to get rid of their people, even though they're in the red by however many dollars they are? Things like that don't make sense.
They make zero sense.
It's that 10,000 foot view that can give you all the numbers that say, oh, well, this had to happen because of this. But when you actually get down to the human level,
right,
I feel like that's one of our superpowers. That's
you
what
either want to
be. We're good at looking at every single person as a human.
Yes, you want to be responsible for your business, then you're going to work for AFN. If you want to just, if they come and say term all your people and you have no authority and you have no idea what you've made, what you've not made, where first base is, where second, then you need to go work for a corporation. Mm-hmm. AFN isn't for you. But if you want to control your business and you want to have a say and you need someone, dude, there's thousands of people that can teach you a P&L. I'm telling you right now, I've looked at thousands of P&Ls. AFN has the simplest P&L I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's not so hard.
Cut and dry, it makes you sick.
Yes. I mean,
it's
not hard. And again, I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak I have a little thing I'm trying to build. I'm trying to get out there and get leads and get loans and pull some stuff in for my loan officer and all of that stuff. But I haven't spent a dime on marketing since August.
Yes.
Because this was coming.
Yes.
So you pivot and you try to do things organically and you look at different, strategies to execute and things like that. It's not a shock. It's not a surprise. And like you said, the people who are responsible with their business should be rewarded for that.
Yes. And that's what I mean. You don't need to be in fear of the P&L. Literally, I can sit down and show you in 10 minutes. This is how this works. That's what we're getting. Sometimes you have people that are scared, and there's no reason to be scared of it. In fact, Own it. Don't overcome the fear of it. Sit down with us for 5 minutes. I'll show you what it's like, how to drive it, how to treat your loan officers, what to do, how to handle the situations, all those things. We live in a world where we're scared to manage people. We're scared to help them. And it's just not the way it needs to be. It really isn't. Take control of your business. It's totally fine.
Agree. Hey, Scott, I want to thank you very much for being on here. This means everything. And I know of all people in the world, you just changed companies. Your license just came through.
Yes.
All of those things. You've got loans closing. To take the hour plus to be with us means everything. I thank you very much. Mfaraci, I always appreciate you every single day.
Absolutely.
You do some amazing things, not only for the podcast, but for the company in general.
We're
and
trying.
You guys need to meet. You guys need to know each other and meet. Scott, you will end up needing Mike at some point in time, and you guys should be friends.
I hope not. I hope you don't need me, but I hope you can find. But I hope you can find a way to use me anyway.
Mike, I'm literally one of the worst friends to have. I'm gonna need something. I promise you.
All right.
Let's just be honest about it.
I'll be ready for it. All right. Take care, Scott. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you, guys.
All of our watchers and listeners, if any, all of the 2 or 3 people who are still here with us, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time.